it's Lynn again with Little Foot Nursery. I am here with silicone baby Evelyn. She is the Emerson sculpt co-created by Izzy, Zhao, and Noe Art Dolls. So Noemi from Noe Art Dolls painted her and sculpted the limbs, and then Izzy Zhao did the head. And then she's rooted by Lazara Brito, who is so brilliant at rooting. So anyway, I wanted to hop on and do a video and just chat. I know my last video, my apologies for boring those of you guys who are not Disney fans, but I think I shared we went to California Adventure, and I had to talk about that day. And yesterday, we just went to Disneyland. So I wanted to share about that trip. And so I'm filming this like maybe 10 days after the last time I filmed. So in between, we did a trip up to Big Bear for 4th of July weekend, which was so much fun. So I want to talk about our Big Bear trip as well as the Disneyland visit as well. And given that we're going to be chatting about Disneyland, I'm going to be changing this sweet girl into this very cute Minnie Mouse onesie outfit. This is from Shop Disney, which is where it's a Disney baby brand, but I think I buy most of my stuff from Shop Disney. And I'm just like so excited about Disney, and yeah, just wanted to chat about that trip. And then anyway, so let's talk first about Big Bear. So Big Bear was 4th of July weekend, and we actually had a total scare before we left because Ethan got sick right before we left, and he was definitely coughing, and he had like a kind of a low grade temperature in the 99 range, and he just seemed a little bit lethargic and sort of uncomfortable and things like that. And we had been planning this trip for months to go with my extended family, so we didn't want to have to cancel, but we were of course worried about whether he had COVID. So what we did the day before the trip was we went to get him tested, and thankfully, and I guess urgent care there is a place that you can go get tested, especially on short notice, and and you can get a rapid test, so you can get your results back within a few hours, or on the spot, or however long. So we went and got him tested, and thankfully the test was negative. So then I kind of thought, okay, so he has some kind of a bug, but it's not COVID. And so kind of texted with my family, and they felt we should still go. And I was very thankful for that because it would have been such a bummer to miss it. So yeah, what we did was we rented this house that we found through Airbnb, and it was like a really nice big house, and it had like a yard and a playground and a hot tub, and it was just many bedrooms. And so each family could kind of have their own, but there was an extra room with a bunch of beds, so we kind of let the kids all bunk together. Oh my gosh, she looks so cute in this. I would never take a silicone baby to Disney, but oh my gosh, how cute would she be in this? Anyway, so I'll talk about that maybe in another video, like why maybe like the pros and cons of taking a baby to a theme park. Yeah, let me talk about that, because I have taken a reborn with me before, so we could chat about that. Maybe I'll just do that in the follow-up video. So anyway, so we drove up to Big Bear, and the road was super windy, so Audrey definitely got a bit car sick on the way up. But yeah, then we got there, we checked in, and it's just such a beautiful house, and just kind of got settled in. And they had this like family room that was like really large and open, and with a huge couch that seats a ton of people. So it's just so nice. Like we would just kind of sit there, and they had like a little dining area with a little breakfast nook. So it was a really adorable place. And so when we first got there, it was myself, my mom, and one of my sisters and her family, and my other sister's family. They were going to arrive later that evening, so the rest of us went ahead and decided to go out and eat for dinner. So we found a restaurant with outdoor dining and ate together, and then let's see, and then what else? Yeah, we ate together, and then we went to and then went to bed that night. And then the next day we had picked up this brochure at the restaurant, and there were some just different like Big Bear ads of like different activities you could do. And the one thing that looked super fun was they had this roller coaster, and kind of like a mountain roller coaster, and they also had like a bobsled, and it reminded me of when I was young. We did this trip to Europe, and when we were in Austria, they had a toboggan ride, which I just remembered it was the funnest thing ever. Like you could kind of control how fast it went, and yeah, I just remembered it was like so cool. And so, yeah, so we decided to go do that. And the mountain roller coaster by far was much more fun. But the toboggan ride was a lot cheaper. So it was like, instead of $5 per person, it's like $5 versus $20 per person. It was 20 for the adults and Audrey, since she was tall, and then 10 for the kids. And so, super pricey, but worth experiencing once. And anyway, so that was a lot of fun. And then we went out for lunch and had Mexican food. And I definitely took advantage of the unlimited refills for horchatas, which I love that drink. So yummy. So yeah, so we had that, and then yeah, and then kind of just came back, after that, and I think, and then just chilled out at home for the rest of the day. So that was the Saturday, and then Sunday was 4th of July. We decided to do a hike in the morning, and it's supposed to be a hike that's like, good for kids. They said it was a mile and a half round trip. I think it was really more like 2 miles. It definitely felt longish, but the kids all managed, and everybody made it through. I mean, it was very, very hot. So definitely everybody was really tired by the end of that. And then after the hike, I'm trying to remember what we did at that point. Oh yeah, we decided to go to the village and grab lunch. So we ate lunch at this like Himalayan restaurant, and then just walked around the little shops. And after that, we just came back and rested at home. Oh yeah, both days we did hot tub, just kind of hung out in the hot tub. And then since it was the 4th of July, for dinner, we grilled and barbecued. So that was really, 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 really cool and so delicious. I think the night before we cooked at home and we had spaghetti. So, and when I say we, I mean my sister, because she is, her family, they're really good cooks. And so, yeah, so that was that night. And then that night, we really didn't get a view of the fireworks because it was just too our view was obstructed by just some really tall trees. And but it was cute. Like the kids would look through the trees, and you could kind of get a little glimpse of fireworks going off. And that was really, really fun. So yeah, so that was awesome. And then yeah, and then kind of went to sleep. And then next day we had to pack and leave and drive home. So that was our Big Bear trip. It was 3 nights and 2 days. Went by quickly, but it felt like we really got away. And so it was really nice to, I feel like I've been just very spoiled with so many trips this summer. And I think it's just making up for like 18 months of not traveling. So I think we've all been just a little stir crazy from the pandemic and staying home. In terms of the mask situation up in Big Bear, people were really, for the most part, not really wearing them, except, I mean, I did notice indoors, people would try to wear them. And we definitely wore ours when we were like indoors or in stores and things like that. But then we did do indoor dining for lunch that day at the village, as well as the prior day at the Mexican restaurant. And our family, we don't like, when we're at home, we don't really go out and do a lot of like indoor dining and stuff like that. It's more for these like special occasion things, like when we're on vacation or something like that. And so I really hope we can continue to stay safe, but it definitely feels like, for the most part, people aren't really masking and things like that. So anyway, fast forward a few days, and now a few days later, and kind of like day before we have our Disneyland visit, just with my family, Audrey gets sick. So she clearly caught what Ethan had, and is like never had a temperature, but is, you know, sniffly, coughing, runny nose, and just kind of miserable and complaining. So, um, but you know, we really just had like the one day, but she had no fever. And we just had the one day to do Disneyland because we bought the 2 day, one park per day tickets, and they have to be used within 14 days of each other. Otherwise, we would have maybe decided to cancel and then push it off to a different day. But we really didn't have that option given the way these tickets work. And looking back, I don't think I would I think locking myself into a 2 day, one park per day thing is a little bit feels risky because you just never know what kinds of things will come up. So um anyway, but yeah, so we decided to go to Disneyland. That was yesterday. And we essentially, you know, woke up at like 6:30. At 7 a.m. I got onto my app to try to get a boarding pass for the new Star Wars Rise of the Resistance ride. And as you guys know from my last video, I tried to get web slingers at 7 a.m. and I was unsuccessful. So you know, this time I was really hopeful that I could get it, and kind of using this trick I had read about in an article, this one tip, I was able to get it. So I was just very, very happy about that. And then by the time we left the house, it was probably more like 7:30, 7:40, just by the time we got the kids kind of up and ready and sunscreened and out the door. So we drove there, parked in the Pixar parking garage, which is right next to the Mickey and Friends one, and then ended up walking to the park, not via the tram route, but through downtown Disney, which to me is just a much more pleasant walk than that tram route, because you can, like, when you're walking, you can see people, you can see stores. There's just kind of more interesting things to look at. Either or, like that walkway, you know, from the garage to downtown Disney is actually quite peaceful, because I think most people were still going through the tram route. And then because we entered through downtown Disney, the security lines were a lot shorter than I think if we had gone with the crowd, you know, with the rest of the parking garage. So I'm happy that we did that. By the time then there was a long line to get into Disneyland. By the time we actually got in, it was probably like 9:15, 9:30. So, and for those of you guys who don't know, I mean, my kids, because I have two kids with autism, we have the disability services thing where you get, you know, instead of waiting in the line, you get a return time. So we ended up, you know, starting in Fantasyland and kind of just working our way through some of the rides, and then headed over to Star Wars when it felt like our boarding group might be getting close to being called. But then when we walked there, it was weird. It kept saying your boarding group estimated time is about 20 minutes. And I kept thinking, like, okay, well, it's been 20 minutes for like the past 30 minutes. So I wasn't sure what that meant. And then, but yeah, they were like calling the groups before us. And then since we had some time, we went ahead and got some blue milk, which, if you guys don't know what this is, it's kind of like it's a blue sort of smoothie-like drink, which they sell in Star Wars Land, which is insanely expensive. It's like $8 for this little cup. And but I don't know, I just wanted to get it. We hadn't had it in so long. So we bought 3 of them because my husband didn't want one. And we ended up, me, Audrey, and Ethan, we each had our own, and it kind of tastes a little bit like a gummy bear. It's kind of that flavor. So yeah, probably some of you guys would find it gross, that it's just too sweet, but I thought it was refreshing, especially on like a hot summer morning. So we had the blue milk, and then our time was up to ride the other Star Wars ride, the Millennium Falcon. So we rode that. And then when we came out of that, then it was time to ride Rise of the Resistance. And oh my gosh, it is an incredible ride. It is so immersive. And because it was our first time riding it, I had no idea what to expect. But it was really cool. There are like different rooms that you kind of walk through, including this very stunning, breathtaking scene with all the stormtroopers standing there. And then you walk into like a couple of other rooms, and it's really like you're in the and sorry, my apologies, I'm not like a big Star Wars fan, so even though I've seen most of the recent movies, but I think it's like the First Order's ship, so they're kind of like taking you prisoner, and then they put you in these like little vehicles, and then that's kind of where the ride portion of the ride was, and you kind of ride through different scenes, and it's like a trackless ride, and it was just so cool. Like, I was really like amazed by I just felt like, wow, Disney really outdid themselves with that ride. It really was incredible. So, and so anyway, so after that we had lunch, and we had a mobile order ahead of time because it just gets like very people are on top of it, and like mobile order stuff in advance. So we mobile ordered our lunch, and actually from two different places. So Audrey and I had Ronto wraps, and then Greg and Ethan had food from the, I forget what it's called, the Docker station or something like that. There's a quick service place there. And one item I wanted to try, because I'd seen this in YouTube videos, was that like cold brew. There's this cold brew coffee drink with cocoa puffs that are sprinkled on the top. I'm like, what a brilliant idea. Like, I wonder if I could like recreate this at home. So anyway, so I had that, and I thought it was I thought it was really delicious. I really liked it. And so anyway, so we had our lunch, and then after lunch we headed back to Fantasyland and kind of rode, a lot of the rides that we missed the first time, and then headed to Toontown. And from Toontown, we had a return time for Splash Mountain, so went all the way to Splash Mountain, and then Audrey and I rode that ride together. Got totally wet, but had so much fun, and I was happy to get wet because it was so hot that day. Yeah, so we rode Splash Mountain, and then after that, kind of, we actually decided to do the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes. I was really trying to see if there was a way we could try to cover like almost every single ride. We were almost successful, but we did miss a few. But given that, we were there for like 12 to 13 hours in the park, I think we did pretty good. But yeah, we did the Explorer canoes, which I had not done since before having kids. But and it's funny because it's really the adults mostly doing the rowing, but they gave the kids their own like little oar, and then Ethan thought it was really funny to just throw it into the water. So thankfully Greg was able to rescue it. And then he kept trying to take my paddle and take Greg's paddle, so he was making a lot of trouble throughout the whole whole journey. But overall, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. And we rode all the way around the lake, and it was kind of nice, like a little change of scenery. And then we decided to go to Tom Sawyer's Island, and then we rode Haunted Mansion, and after Haunted Mansion, went to the Tiki Room, got Dole Whips, and then rode Pirates, and went in the Tarzan Treehouse. And then at that point, it was kind of getting close to dinner time, so we decided to ride Big Thunder, and then the Mark Twain, and then grab dinner. And Ethan and I had corn dogs, and then Audrey and Greg got food from the Galactic Grill. So we all ate kind of in that Galactic Grill area. And by then I was kind of like feeling a little anxious that we were running really low on time. So we tried to hit Tomorrowland rides. So we did Space Mountain, and then Ethan and Greg did Buzz Lightyear while we were doing Space Mountain. After that, we did Star Tours and Astro Orbiter, and then Audrey and I did Autopia. And at that point, and before Autopia, we had to decide if it was 9:30, almost 9:30. We had to decide if we wanted to do more rides or if we wanted to try to catch the fireworks. But Audrey said she preferred to do rides, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So we decided to do the Autopia, and then she and I actually tried to run all the way to try to see if we could get into line for Indiana Jones, because if you get into line before the park closes, they will still let you ride it. But unfortunately, it was like broken down. So that was unfortunate. So then at that point, we ran back to Tomorrowland, and she and I rode Buzz Lightyear because we missed that ride since Greg and Ethan had ridden it. And yeah, so the ones that we did not get to do were really the train, Indiana Jones, and those are two things that I think were definitely a bummer that we missed. We probably could have hit those for sure if we had skipped Tom Sawyer's Island, but that was kind of cool to go check out. We hadn't done that in many years. And then also the kind of the Lincoln show, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which plays in that theater on Main Street. So we didn't get to see that either. But you know what, guys, like, and we missed the fireworks. So those are kind of the things that we missed. But overall, we did a ton. Stayed till closing, even went into the shops on Main Street for a little bit after we were done with rides and when the main park was closed, and then kind of did the long walk back to the car, and yeah, and then we got home. And so today, which is the day after, has just been full recovery time from our time at Disneyland. It was such a blast. But you know, like these one day in the park where you're trying to get there early in the morning and stay till closing and doing everything you possibly can in one day, it's absolutely exhausting. So it's not my preferred way to see the parks. I mean, it definitely was awesome that we covered so much, but I know Greg and the kids were definitely complaining a lot about being tired or their feet hurting. And when I checked my phone at the end of the day, it said we had walked, or at least I had walked 12 and a half miles and 28,000 steps. So that is like craziness to me to walk that many steps in a day. But anyway, thank you guys for just kind of listening and letting me recap my trip, and just some of the highlights for me. Like I think it was fun for Audrey to drive her own car on Autopia because she's finally like 55 inches, and the minimum requirement to drive your own car is 54 inches. So she felt like a big girl and just really enjoyed that. And then it was cute because Ethan requested certain rides that he wanted to ride on, like Peter Pan, the merry-go-round, the Storybook Canal Boats, Small World, and Buzz Lightyear were some of the ones that he. Oh, and Haunted Mansion. Those are all ones that he specifically requested. Haunted Mansion surprised me because I felt like he was pretty scared of that ride when he was younger. So that one definitely shocked me. But yeah, he wanted to ride on Haunted Mansion, so I was like, great. So it was such a blast and just so magical to be back. I wish that we hadn't been so rushed trying to kind of go from ride to ride, and I just had some more time to browse shops and just soak in the ambiance on Main Street or ride some of the vehicles and stuff like that. Just some of the slower things that you tend to let yourself do when you have an annual pass versus when you have like a one-day ticket. So I really like miss that feeling of having a pass and like not being rushed. Like we bought Knott's Berry Farm annual passes for this year, and when we go, it's kind of like how we used to go to Disneyland. Like we'll go for like 5 hours or something like that, and we'll ride a bunch of things, but we don't stress if we miss something that day because we know we're going to be back and things like that. So it's just a much nicer feeling to not feel like you're rushed. So anyway, well, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if those of you guys who are Disney fans out there, let me know if you guys have had a chance to get out to the parks, whether Disney World or Disneyland, and whether you have any plans to. I will tell you that in terms of COVID restrictions, very, very few people were wearing masks indoors or outdoors. And, like we normally are pretty good about like, okay, indoors, let's mask up. But I don't know. It was just, we had one day at Disneyland and I just wanted to enjoy it and not think about COVID. I guess that maybe that's not like the smartest thing to do. And we just went with the flow and we just didn't wear our masks. I'm sorry to say. I mean, I think I was talking to a colleague about it, and I think just the kids are in a very low risk category. And so, yeah, so I think even if they caught it, I mean, the chances of it being serious, it's very, very slim. And so, so I just kind of just went with the flow, and I didn't see too many people. It was for sure like less than 10% of people were masking. So, we have our Disney World trip planned for later this summer, and I know that Florida has more cases, and so I'll have to think about that one. What we want to do there, and maybe we mask up indoors and try to be a bit more vigilant on that. But it was very, very hot. It was like 85 degrees and sunny yesterday. It was so hot, and or 85, 90 degrees. And I know the Florida heat is even worse. So I am really worried about just our level of comfort. What I did decide to do is, because we were wearing cotton t-shirts and we were just miserable because it was so hot, I ordered a bunch of dry fit matching family shirts from Etsy. So I'm really hoping they get here before our trip, and that'll be like a good uniform for the summer. So all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. And I will have to do another video about taking a doll to the theme parks or stuffed animals to the theme parks or not. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.